I just want to say a few words about JJ Cale. I first heard about JJ Cale. I think the first time I ever noticed his name or anything about him was back in the early 70s. I was living in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I was listening to a Leon Russell album. Uh, I'm not sure which Leon Russell. I think it was the country Leon. Leon's Back, I think is the name of it. But JJ was a producer on it, and he played guitar on nearly every cut. And I just remember that name. And then it was a few years later I actually heard him. Uh, I'm not sure what song I've heard first on the radio, but I just loved his style immediately. I just loved everything about him, his voice, his guitar playing, just his style. And I moved to Memphis, and when I first moved to Memphis, I first heard the Dire Straits record with Mark Knopfler, and I was just knocked out by that, and I thought, this guy's been listening to JJ Cale. And also Eric Clapton was another. I thought, this guy, I didn't realize that they had been listening to JJ Cale, but it was so obvious. It was just so obvious. They were just they weren't copying JJ Cale, but you could hear it, and it just I love that. Well, I just listened to him on and on for many years, and I had a chance to go hear him at the New Daisy on Beale Street, and I think it was '89. And I knew I was a fan of JJ Cale's, but I didn't realize that he had such a following until I got to the Daisy that night. I luckily got down there fairly early. The place was jam packed, and it just it floored me. I just didn't realize that he had such a following. I don't know why. I loved him, but I didn't think there'd be that big of a crowd, but I was totally wrong. But not only that, everywhere I turned it was Memphis musicians. I mean, the best musicians in town, and all the other musicians. I'm not sure if you wanted to hear any other live music in town that night that you could have. Everybody there, virtually everybody there, was a musician. I just couldn't believe it. I'd gone to a lot of shows in Memphis, but I'd never seen anything like that. Needless to say, the show was just fantastic. I loved everything about it. He did all the songs that I just loved, and I loved everything he ever did. I just, anything he did was fine with me. But it just played great, and I think that just being in Memphis, that vibe that I'm sure he got from, I don't know what it is. Memphis has a special little vibe going, and I'm sure he was picking up on that night. He said very few words, and I think that was probably normal for a JJ Cale show. He let his guitar and his songs do most of the talking for him, which was fine with me. I wasn't there to see a show. I was there to hear his music. He didn't really put on a show, and that was fine with me. That's exactly what I expected. After that night, I was even more of a JJ Cale fan than I'd ever been before, and I always have been, and I always will be. I try to include many of his songs every night that I play. I always try to do his songs because I just love them. They feel like they're part of me, and I love them, and I will continue to do them. Even though now they just take on a little different kind of deal. I don't know what it is. I did them the other night, and they just felt a little different than they did the night before. I love JJ Cale, and I really will miss him, but he left us with a lot of great music, And I hope that I can play these tunes for the rest of my life. Love you, buddy.